All right. Let's go, Quincy. We'll have Rebel back before the next game. Don't worry, everyone. But for now, it is just going to be myself and Quincy bringing you all the action here on Summoner's Rift. And Quincy, can you guess what I'm about to ask you?
Yes, I can. You want to ask me where the junglers are pathing, where the early game plan is going for both these teams, and it will be bot side focus as Mabi wished initially, and I haven't heard it of course, but that was apparently what was said in the off, and she's sadly not here, but we'll see. Fook 1 going for the blue buff first, pathing towards bot side, and the same can be said about Ikigai starting on the red buff on the red side. So also bot in focus on their regard, and of course you don't want to play strongs at top side anymore, unless you have like Camille Trinome up the top side. Then it's a bit more likely that you want to go this route. But on Graves against Gnar, you can kind of leave them on an island and let them just farm next to each other. And I think especially Team Flash would be very happy with that. At Cerberus, they kind of have the honors that mid lane is going well. It's Syndra against Corki. Good matchup, I would say, at least in the laning phase, but you will get outscaled eventually. So I really want to see Jane maybe get at least a slight lead there. And of course, we will see if Artemis and 1OP can really smash this bottom matchup together with Fook 1, maybe helping them out a little bit.
Well, speaking of the bot lane, there is a little bit of lore in this matchup, because with Slater returning to the VCS, we suddenly have the Padawan taking on the Master, because Artemis was the benched player behind Slater for a long time. Slater was considered the best ADC in the league, competing with DivKid at the time, while Artemis was on the bench waiting for his chance. He finally got his chance, and oh boy, he took it. So now the Master returns to potentially put the Padawan back in his place.
It's top 10 anime revenge stories if Artemis smashes him again this time. So let's wait and see if that happens. And what I also just now saw was Jane absolutely smashing Yoshino in the trading department. Syndra, we may like or hate Syndra as a pick or something in between, which is the case for me, but you cannot really deny her early game strength. It is really oppressive. And Corki, not the best early game champion. I think he can farm somewhat safely. If he drops a few CS, he should be fine there. But Yoshino just now, that was a rough trade. And it definitely will hurt him. He might just need to use a TP earlier on to really stabilize in this matchup.
Had Ikigai to back him up there was potential for a cheeky play under tower there from Jane. But yeah, so far, as you said, I think he is going to have to go back, just use that TP very early on. Jane doing great stuff. Has used his entire mana bar, though. So it's going to be hard for him to contribute to this play. But it's actually Poss moving so early to try and get his jungler the crab, the double crab. Okay. They're just helping Fook.
Yeah, they're helping Fook. And I thought maybe Yoshino could do something there, because with him ironically being forced out early, he got to shop, so he would have at least an advantage in the item department. And also being back to full health and mana would maybe help him there. But Team Flash deciding against contesting that, maybe even a smart decision, because Syndra could just, with that little bit of mana she had, just let a devastating scale of the week and getting an early kill there, or just secure the crab with the force of will, or do anything along those lines. So smarter Flash to not really fight this cuddle and just give it over to Fook 1, who is likely being pretty confident in this regard, because both his laners helping him out there and him having a good start against this Lee Sin.
And I'm kind of already liking what I'm seeing out of Cerberus. Just even very, very early on, they actually made a play together. 1OP having to walk up towards Yoshino, who just Valkyries away. But we didn't see this last game. Last game, there were 5 headless chickens running around the rift on their own and getting slaughtered.
Getting slaughtered. I mean, it was just out farming and out killing them on the map, while Cerberus just tried to do something and couldn't do anything. What was kind of even more brutal, if you put it this way, maybe. It was just a slow bleed out. I think it was like first blood at 15 minutes or something. We were kind of thinking we were watching LCK, but with one team being clearly ahead of the task, apart from the other. And we see in the mid lane, the farm lead is still there, but I wonder really if Jane can keep pressuring that and keep pressing it, because once items are coming in, you really need to cash in with the gold you get over the other mid laner. You can really make a difference there. And farming wise, also the bot lane working out great for the side of Cerberus. So despite the question marks within the draft, they are playing this early game relatively well.
Yeah, they really are. Let's see if they can keep it up. As you said, Artemis obviously a player that can do a whole hell of a lot, and on this Jinx definitely keeps up with the Aphelios as the game goes on. But as you alluded to, this mid lane matchup, we do need to see Jane really stomping it. A 10 CS lead is enough for now, but it does need to turn into some kills, into some pressure, perhaps into a Dragon or a Herald. But those are still a little bit away. We are just playing that farm game. Ooh, never mind.
Wow.
Nearly dies.
Yeah, that was very close of Jane just farming Yoshino there. And that's something that can happen in the Syndra against Koki matchup. And now, of course, Lee Sin is suffering for this because this mid-jungle duo is very oppressive in the early game. Syndra, Xin Zhao, I don't think you can have a much stronger one at the first few levels. And Lee Sin, of course, has to back off with his mid laner being forced away from the lane once again and starting to struggle here. I mean, Jane, he is a rookie, but at least he's a main mid laner for, I think, longer than a single month, which Yoshino kind of isn't because he's very, very new to this. Still, despite having a good showing against Second Buffalo, but on a new champ, I think maybe it was kind of the crutch for the side of Yoshino, as I get now interrupted.
A lovely hook goes onto Artemis, but it just doesn't matter. There's too much damage onto the Aphelios as Slater will fall. First blood claimed for the Jinx, and Cerberus are off to such a lovely start.
And we said one win condition for Cerberus is just smashing the bot lane, and that's apparently what they are just now doing. First, but also onto Artemis on the Jinx. I mean, it couldn't go better. I mean, oftentimes these first blood kills in the bot lane just go towards the ignite of the support, and then you cannot really do that much with it. And in this case, it just goes perfectly for them. Great dredge line.
What?
How did he own that? That looked so sick. That shouldn't have happened. I think I saw it just now for the second time. It just looked wrong.
Thresh apparently just doing a bit of a no thank you, goes straight through his hitbox and hits the ADC. Nort Hook, never change. Or actually, please do change.
Yeah. And I can always understand the team Flash bot not flashing this because they thought, just hits Fresh, he takes a good chunk of damage, but worst case he just flashed later, right? But no, you just instantly hit the Aphelios, and Aphelios is pretty paper against all the CC and damage that's coming in. So no chance there for Slater, and Artemis gets his first revenge kill, if we are so to say. And another thing I want to address, after flaming this draft so much, the scaling not looking too great for Cerberus, but if they are like ahead in the mid game with the Jinx especially, and also Grace is the one champion on the comp that really outscales the opposition. Yeah, so maybe there's a window for them even there. And Marcus, you don't get Mega in time, you will die.
And he certainly does, as Jane is gifted that kill. The Syndra scaling even further ahead as Fook will start up this Rift Herald as well. Cerberus in full control. This is looking like Winter Cerberus.
It's looking a bit like Winter Cerberus, ironically, because 60% of the roster has changed.
Package had to be burned.
Yeah, it's just the bot lane with 3 other players than the ones who actually won the championship, but they're still looking good. And this kind of brings to me the question, is Team Flash really that good? Because, I mean, this is a somewhat new roster that they are playing against. And Pause, I think he can survive against the Lee Sin. At least cut it out a little bit more. If he's away from the turret, he can't draw aggro. But if that Sonic Wave lands, he's dead.
Ooh, it landed onto Fook, who should be able to trade this one back. No, never mind. Ikigai will get away as now Mark is bearing down. He hasn't even picked up the eye. God, if that had been one auto earlier, that would have been an absolute disaster. So Team Flash fire back with 2 rapid fire kills of their own.
Definitely, and that was just an overreach from the side of Cerberus that Pause. I mean, he can somewhat fight the Lee Sin if he's away from the turret, but under the turret, there was really no way. He was maybe to some extent just greeting for the plating there and then just getting caught in the way of it. With Fook, they were also, just like you, expecting that they would trade 1 kill back, but sadly couldn't do so because that one wind pickup lighting was apparently missing. And he was just finishing the Rift Herald, wasn't really in time there to help. And he almost didn't pick up the eye, which would have been maybe done by Jane, but that was just an unnecessary risk done by Cerberus. They were very confident in what they can do because the early game was running so well for them, but now they just gave Team Flash some kills they shouldn't have given.
Yeah, they did. Perhaps a little bit of a rookie error, of course. Now that we're looking at a different Cerberus roster, we aren't looking at these veterans of the league. Cerberus we often talk about as these consummate professionals, these veterans, but 3 of their members. Oh, hang on. We'll have to come back to it as Ikigai has been caught out as Fook. Lands the wind becomes lightning. Does he have another E? He doesn't. But it's another crab for Fook. How can one take on a man who has manifested this much seafood?
I don't really know. Either way, not really great game by Ikigai, or for Ikigai, I would say, because he was kind of suffering still from what happens in the mid lane. By now, Jane, 20 CS ahead against the Corki, also 1 kill ahead because he got some good roaming earlier on, abusing the priority he had, and now with the reserve chucks, the turret will die, and I think the flash needs to run.
Yeah, but they do land the hook there onto Fook. So Slater's gifted that kill, the dredge line. Oh, sorry, the depth charge used. I'm surprised Slater felt the need to flash away there. They did have the numbers advantage, but he kept himself safe. But the tower has fallen, giving Artemis plenty of gold. Don't let that go off.
It was Fukwan dying to the turret. This might cost him the dragon, but I think Slater actually need to flash there because it was both Artemis and Jane coming up. If one slow, one stun land there, there's a lot of damage also following up there for both of these carries. It is indeed better safe than sorry to flash this play, but the Drake going over to deep flash because of Fukwan's death, and this might cost greatly towards Cerberus because I think overall they still to snowball this game a little bit, and giving away 5 minutes for potential Drake soul stack win condition is not something that is the thing they are happy with. Here we see the replay again. Hook landing on towards Fukwan, and he is a techie Shenzhao, can block projectiles, but yeah, when you are within the zone, you can just really bobble him up as the Lee Sin and the FAOs just now did, and the Shenzhao not that tanky yet.
Not quite. We've got a bit of a back and forth game on our hands, don't we, Quincy? Yoshino, he's having a terrible time. He's actually managing to keep the farm where it was, but he's not having a fun time.
Yeah, for him it's just a back and back game. He keeps getting clapped by the Cinder. And you see, that is one fast jinx, considering how fast he just melt the plates. Really already starting to go ahead in items as well. Already on Kraken Slayer plus Circus, and maybe Yoshino even gets Dove. If one more spell lands, maybe there's an angle for Fukwan to go in, but no, there sadly isn't. And Yoshino is having a rough time. Maybe he can trade a little bit back once he finishes his Muramana, or just now he goes towards the boots, and he's a little bit on the garage the item builder. This might just be what kind of costs him in the mid game, because the Corki, he will be kind of delayed. He's always getting very unfavorable trades and just keeps missing on some CS here, and especially Corki, like he needs to have these big CS numbers, and he also is forced to go the Hex Drinker, which of course more from a Mortius, not a terrible item. He would likely just sit on the Hex Drinker anyway. But Hex Drinker is that one thing that also delays the power spike of the shield bow, or in this case, it will likely be the more mana poke build with the Luden's Tempest and also the Ravenous Hydra.
I'd certainly hope to see the Luden's Tempest. I don't want to see the shield bow, even though it might end up being necessary with the amount of focus that is being put onto Yoshino. Has gone the spellbook as well this game. No first strike to try and really buff up that poke. Up towards the top lane he moves. He has the package. Can't have too much longer left on it though. Do we flame him for picking up the package 2.5 minutes before a dragon?
I think we should, yes. The package is like one way in for Team Flash to really win these Drake fights, and as long as Fukwan doesn't just die to a hook shortly before the Drake fight would happen, and then thus no Drake fight happening, I think Cerberus is in a great position to just contest these Drakes and take them themselves. They have a 1k gold lead, they have the Syndra ahead against the Corki. Artem is also ahead of Slater so far.
The turret falling.
Yoshino just dies.
He's just dead. Yeah, he is just in a lot of trouble. He uses his flash and his barrier. I guess it means that Artemis doesn't get the kill, but those are summoners that were never ever saving your life. As Team Flash try and trade it back into the mid lane, they should be able to get a fair bit of damage onto this tower. And if Jane is over aggressive, which he is, a kick into a flay, into a kill, well executed there by Ikigai.
Jane really wanted to give away this minion wave there. Was looking so juicy. Wanted to wave clear. Also didn't want to give over the turret, but I think they will fight over it anyway. Turret just barely surviving. This might just be huge for them, but I think with the next wave it will die anyway. And speaking of Yoshino, he did the same mistake as his co-worker in the mid lane, I dare say. He was also staying on the dead turret, just desperately trying to defend it. It was the first turret, so it was a little bit more understandable for him, but either way, you really shouldn't fight on dead turrets or dying turrets, and here we see it. Ikigai, great insect coming out for him. He at least has used the flash for it, so it's not completely off the charts for Jane, but Jane, you could have just dropped the wave.
You certainly could have. But hey, again, a little bit of a rookie stuff. This is Jane's only first or second outing. There's the Gravitum ultimate, but the Chompers do well. They could try and turn it back around as a rocket comes out. Arte going very low, gets a heal, gets a hook. As in goes Poss, gets the kill, gets Artemis excited. He bears down on Slater. The collateral damage will do the damage, and 2 have been picked up by Cerberus.
And here's just a little bit of an Artemis difference coming out, because he was also getting set up by the Gravitum ultimate coming out from Slater. He was also quick on the cleanse to really get away with it, and they knew they could fight it. They were really confident in it, because Artemis is still very ahead in items of the enemy AD carry. And him free-firing there after even eating the Failures ultimate was really the deal breaker here. Pan also teleporting in, and him picking up both kills means a lot for the side of Cerberus, because this grave scaling items is a very scary prospect. He's already on the hull breaker and might just be an unsolvable threat in the side lane. He's like this one scaling edge that even Cerberus has against Team Flash, despite their comp overall not scaling better than Team Flash ones.
Yeah, and a scaling threat in the hands of Artemis is definitely one to keep an eye on as we do head into this replay to see what happened in the mid lane.
Here we see the replay of what happened there. Again, Artemis, great cleanse on the Gravitum. Here, Dredgeline, Death Judge coming up from 1OP. They can focus down Arte with pretty much ease. There's no way to engage onto Artemis, and he just can free fire even onto Slater with this insane range of the rocket launcher. Double kill comes out for the side of Poss, and like this easy fight win for the side of Cerberus. They do, however, give over the second Drake, and I'm not sure if I should like that, because the positioning on it was far from ideal, but giving away 2 Drakes, even when the game is going out so greatly for you, is definitely not a good sign if you want to make quick deal out of Team Flash. I do, however, think maybe they just think this game fine, and that's why they give over the Drake. They are indeed ahead on Poss in the top lane on the Graves, and Artemis maybe he just thinks he's a better AD carry. He can carry these late game teamfights either way, even if they get outscaled. So maybe they are just fine.
Also, despite it being 12.2, Poss is sailing the 7 seas, and he's breaking some hulls.
Yeah, he indeed is. He's on Highbreaker, and he just now also goes towards the shield bow. So he will be a full tank race that still kills an AD carry within 3 hits. So he is in a very good position right now. Also ahead in CS against Marcus VVC. Likely also the gold, almost 1k ahead on the Gnar, definitely looking good for him. Surprisingly, Jane not that ahead of Yoshino, despite him absolutely smashing him in the laning phase, but also the AD carry difference very, very huge, and jungle being even is basically what we expected, and even if it wouldn't be the case, not really that much of a difference either way. Both are just bruisers that fulfill one purpose in these team fights, Lee Sin with the kick, Xinjiao with the crescent guard, and here we see Cerberus in this mid game definitely very much ahead, can just use the second herald for another charge and almost finish the tier 3 to it. Oh no!
Good job,
Charge
Ikigai.
gets smited. Yeah.
Well done. That's good awareness there from Ikigai, denying the damage onto the inhib tower. Stopping Cerberus snowballing this any harder. Though they do have this lead. Breaking both of the mid lane towers does give them so much freedom on the map, so much ease to move around, particularly with their Graves is just going to hang out in the side lane for a lot of this game. How do you see this one continuing to go on? Obviously, Flash, they have the scaling, they have a Corki, they have an Aphelios. But with a Jinx in the hands of Artemis, are you confident playing late game against that?
I think initially they were. Then they saw how Artemis is playing today, and then they were like, "Oh hell no!" I think maybe we also on our own need to go quick, considering the Drakes that were already picked up on the side of Team Flash. It is also a Hextech, so that will be very interesting for both teams. That is a very strong soul, very powerful considering the damage output it has, and also the first initial slow it provides is absolutely underrated in my opinion. It can really be a deal breaker to many situations where you can just chase the whole team away because you once get that soul proc off and then get old static shift basically back, but in a stronger version, and that just might be what changes the fate of this game. I think Cerberus is fine. Yes,
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not Vietnamese, but it must get pretty cold there. Or why else does Artemis feel the need for 2 cloaks? Please explain that to me as we watch Jane die.
I watched Jane die. Oh no. Either way, 2 cloaks. I have seen it earlier on Artemis, but I'm not quite sure what he's really going for. I think he just wants to have these DPS items like the Lord Dominic's, and maybe he just goes Lord Dominic's plus Collector, but Collector so late would also make no sense. I'm kind of dumbfounded, honestly. I think he just goes Lord Dominic's and Infinity Edge and just had maybe 1.2k gold and was feeling like, I'm just feeling lucky today or unlucky today and just want more crit chance. And now he's sitting on, I think it must be 70% already, and that's pretty far forward, but his War AD output should be a little bit lacking right now.
It is very interesting. He is looking like he's going towards that Lord Dominic's because he has just picked up that last Whisper. As Poss is getting forced back by Marcus by now, so he's not. I mean, I say forced back. I actually think if he wanted to, he could probably try and outmuscle this Gnar, but he doesn't know where the rest of the team is, so he doesn't want to overextend. It looks like Cerberus are very happy to play this one long.
Yeah, very much looks to be the case. I think they can also just use the Hullbreaker Graves in the side lane and maybe just have him as a threat there. Force 2 or maybe even 3 members from Deflash going towards Pause, likely in the bot lane later on, and then just force Baron on your own and just rush it down and remove that Baron buff. Or otherwise, just play towards Soul on your own. Next Drake will spawn in 30 seconds. This maybe is out of interest for Cerberus. They will, as we just know, the established vision over there, maybe get a catch beforehand. And speaking of catches, there might just be it.
Yeah, it is Ikigai getting knocked up by the depth charge, but the follow-up, not quite there from Cerberus. They get a health bar lead, but it's on a jungler, and it's a jungler. They go take one camp and they're full health again. But Dragon,
and they actually use so many ultimates. They used 4 ultimates for that. I think it's actually not so much a beneficial trade for them. It's actually beneficial for Flash. Who's just
as Yoshino flies into the backside with the package, delivers it well. He will pay with his life, but now it's all on Artemis. The Jinx is firing, gets excited, tagged by Lee Sin-Q, has to respect it, but a good flash away from Ikigai there, but Slater moves on forward. He gets one, but goes down to Artemis, who will survive on a sliver of health. He survives on absolutely nothing. And Fook1 now playing the tango with Ikigai, gives him the emote, gives him the wind becomes lightning, but it needs to be wind becomes death if they want to secure this dragon for free. No, never mind. Ikigai will give it to him.
And that was a sliver of HP away from Slayer, just absolutely killing everyone. That was very well coordinated by Cerberus to just kill him. However, I think they really shouldn't have taken this fight. I think against an equally skilled team, they would definitely lose this fight. Here we see it again. So many ultimates built by them before, and here we see the package engage coming from Yoshino. It deals a decent amount of damage. He almost dies to the unleashed power coming out from Jane, and here we see the extended skirmish coming out. Artemis can somewhat free fire. We see Slayer now feels confident to just go for the play. He is on Flamethrower, so he deals a lot of AoE damage and also on Gravitum. And here we see Artemis starts with a sliver of HP. If he just died there, it could just be very much bad luck for the side of Cerberus, and they barely win this fight. And managed to pick up the Drake because while Ikigai survived, it was Fook1 and also the cavalry of his team surviving, so they could force out Ikigai off the Drake pit and just claim the Drake themselves. I think that taking that fight was a very huge risk, and them winning that out was just pure muscle strength.
It was, it was so close. I'm liking that, Slater on that Aphelios, as you pointed out, was so close to hard carrying the fight. The battle between Master and Apprentice does continue, even if Apprentice does get the better of him in that one. This Jinx now 3 items completed, about 1,000 gold ahead of the Aphelios in terms of effective items.
Yeah, it is what Rebel said in our internal chat, that he just goes for the Krakens there to maximize his DPS output and just combine it with the Phantom Dancer, which is also, if it ramps up, you get so much attack speed for it. And Jinx, of course, already is such a good ramping up AD carry because of her passive, which gives her a good truckload of attack speed anyway. And if Artemis can survive a few seconds in those fights, he can absolutely murder anyone. And we saw some taste of that just now in the last fight, where he could still focus out Slater just when Slater was feeling himself and going in for the fight. And Artemis really wants to press his lead, and this double quit clock style just went. It's now coming to fruition as he finishes that Phantom Dancer. And we see in the next fights maybe how much of a difference this Jinx can make, and that is even before she completes the Infinity Edge, which would be her next item. We
will find out. Aphelios is very, very close to his Infinity Edge as well, has the BF sword and the pickaxe already. Is managing to farm up as well. I think that should probably be him resetting to go grab it now. I imagine that's what that timing was. Someone we haven't really seen much out of so far is Marcus. He made a good play on the top side earlier on, but other than that, didn't have a huge impact in the team fight. How important is this to Team Flash's continued success?
I think him letting a Mega ultimate is basically all his job is in the later stage of the game. He is not really a champion that can do well against the Graves later on, especially with Graves going Halbig. I think the 1v1 is kind of doomed at some point. I think if you maybe kite it perfectly, there's like some off chance that he can actually threaten him, but usually you would expect the Mega to just maybe land a good flash ultimate and just get Artemis into a wall and do a lot of damage to him and just CC him for at least a few seconds or force his clans out so he can fall in this team fight, because otherwise I think Artemis now is very prone to just solo carry this game. And
Teleport's
coming out.
Why?
I don't know why. I think they wanted to defend this tier 2 turret with this, but spending all teleport for it might just be a bit too much. They now lack this teleport in a potential Drake situation or potential Baron situation that could come up with Cerberus playing these next minutes out, and this is certainly where you would want to have the teleport, because otherwise I think it is just Cerberus getting objective after objective, or at least forcing you out slowly but surely on those, and TP for that one. It was a bit lackluster, to say the least. I think it was also for a mini now, right? So he couldn't really do much, even if he is already in close vicinity of the skirmish, if there happens to be one.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused about that one, but hey, it's all right. It will be back up eventually. 1 minute away from the Dragon, and both teams seem to have their eyes set on it. I think this one's important for Flash. I think they need to threaten the Soul if they want to be comfortable in this game. The fact of the matter is that on paper, this game going long is fine for Flash. They have a Corki and an Aphelios. They can scale. But I feel like from what we've seen, the execution out of Artemis is just a little bit too good to go against the late game Jinx.
Definitely so. I have the same feeling. Also, if Flash just give away this district uncontested, I think that they kind of really aren't really in it mentally, because they already have the package on Yoshino. He is also already on 2.5 items, so he is not too far off of being strong on the Corki. They can definitely do some damage there to the side of Cerberus, and if they just don't give this up, I think it will be very hard for them to really play the next minutes out, because you really would want to show some strength now and be in a position.
Gotta get going.
Where you can really contest those. Just right now, Pos is just soloing the Drake.
They have no idea.
Not even watching it. Yeah, it's just sneaked away. It's gone.
That's a very smart move by Cerberus. They make sure that Flash can see Fook 1, and Flash read that as, well, there's their jungler. We know what's going on. The jungler's here. But it's not the jungler taking the the Dragon. It's the top laner. Yoshino wastes the package. They don't even try and trade it for a Baron. And now it's going to be Cerberus starting the fight as a hook goes in onto Artie, followed up by the rocket. A huge Aphelios ult will turn Cerberus right around. Slater stopping a potential disaster.
Okay, and that looked to me like what release Aphelios was doing with the flamethrower Moonlit Vigils. Like, I remember that one play from FBI where he was like literally killing everyone on the enemy team, but he was the only one alive. And this maybe is an angle actually for Team Flash to start the Baron in their right, because they were just poked out everyone on the side of Cerberus. But Cerberus thinks differently.
Slater is dealing a hell of a lot of damage with this Aphelios. They go in. Marcus is the target. Meganar taken out of the fight, but Slater gets exploded. That's a disaster. And now it's Cerberus getting themselves Baron. Ikigai flies in, but he's only going to find a Nautilus. Pos will be zoning him out forever. Now, the smite is not up from Fook. They delay it well. Pos gets the kill, and Cerberus, I think, have just taken absolute control.
Yeah, I also like how Pos just now zoned him out with just the best you see in the world, yeah, Death. He just took the shotgun and just killed Ikigai, so he couldn't really contest it. And yeah, while the poke was landing, there was already the TPs used by the side of Cerberus to really get back into this fight, with both Pos and Jane being full HP, full healthy there. And Flash tank up the Baron, also getting the resistances shredded by it. They were really an easy target for the side of Cerberus, and we saw it also just Slater was the hero in the last skirmish, but he was just getting blown up by the unleashed power from Jane, and it was just an easy pickup by Cerberus now. He will see the replay again. They are all back to full almost. I mean, 1 OP, kind of low, but he just does his job if he just lands one good hook. And that's all he needed to do. And he doesn't even manage to do so, but later on he just finds one onto Ikigai, or at least follows his flash out, forces Ikigai back in, and with this Ikigai is too close to Pos to really be able to stay healthy. He even tries to like just land a Sonic Wave onto a white buff that might even not be there anymore to really save himself, and just now survives. But like this Cerberus picks up the fight and also the Baron, and just now the game is clearly in their control.
Yeah, they're 8,000 gold ahead. They have an incredibly strong Jinx. They have Baron buffs galore. I don't know who stops Graves in the side lane either. And this is a great recovery after such a disastrous first series from Cerberus. Perhaps it was just Garm being too good, and now Marcus caught out the hook. Doesn't land, but this depth charge certainly will, as up he goes. There is a lantern to get to, but no retreat, no quarter, as he is taking down, and oh my god, Artemis is doing so much damage. He has access to Super Mega Death Rocket, whips it in, and goodbye, Yoshino. That's a crashed plane. We'll see you on air traffic investigation next week.
Artemis having fun, I think. Now 2 more kills for the side of Cerberus. We just saw how great the CC of Nautilus really is. Marcus couldn't even turn Mega Knight in time because he couldn't really attack anything. He was just CC'd the whole time. One hook lands, he gets the staggering blow, he gets the dredge line into his face, and just gets ulted. And just now this Baron buff is still on the side of Cerberus. They just end the game right here.
Yeah, Fukwon buying just space so that they can hit the towers. They pick up the kills, and now they'll go for the KDA players. Oh my god, Slater, do you even exist? As Artemis, that one felt personal as he goes in, make sure he reminds Teacher who's on